अस्सलाम वालेकुम डियर स्टूडेंट्स। आज हम एबीडी का दूसरा वाला हिस्सा करेंगे। जहाँ हमने छोड़ा था वहीं से हम शुरू करेंगे। जो हम मतलब लास्ट लेक्चर में, लास्ट वीडियो में जहाँ से छोड़ा था, जहाँ पे छोड़ा था, और वहीं से हम आज शुरू करेंगे। आई होप यू स्टे ट्यून्ड। ओके, let me read out the text and you understand. We'll go by words and we will go by sentences, and we'll see the message, that the beauty of the text, and also the message that it conveys. Okay, I read out. Kaka consoled her, Abby, if the bus stopped working, it doesn't mean that it has had that it has had an accident, because often buses often break down during a journey. Sometimes the oil freezes due to the cold. Sometimes nuts and bolts of engine do not function, or certain part stops working. The driver parks the vehicle one side of the road, repairs it, and then vehicle takes off. So writer says he is trying to console, he is trying to motivate, he is trying to give a kind of solicitation to an old woman, Abby, who was very much furious about Roxana's studying in Srinagar. Why? Because she never wanted her to be away, from her sight. So ये कहता है कि Kaga consoled her, means Bashir Ahmed consoled Abby. If buses stopped working, अगर buses working stop करती है, मतलब it doesn't mean, इसका मतलब ये नहीं होता that it has an accident, तो इस गाड़ी का कोई accident हो गया. Buses stop working means there could be some breakdown, mechanical breakdown. During journey, sometimes the oil freezes due to cold temperature, due to coldness in Ladakh and Leh and Kargil. It's very cold there during winters even. So oil freezes sometimes, and that makes that makes a vehicle feel difficult in running. So due to cold weather, or sometimes nuts and bolts, sometimes some mechanical disposition come with these buses. I mean, sometimes mechanical breakdown comes with these buses and vehicles. I mean to say, the engines. Or sometimes engine stops working due to some mechanical or technical wrongness with them. The driver parks, then he tries to explain. Kaga tries to explain. Then what happens? The driver, parks the vehicle on the roadside and then repairs it if there is a minor repairment. So he tries to repair it, and then the vehicle takes off, and then the vehicle starts running again. Okay. So we also had to take extreme precautions before commenting on the news in front of Abby. He says the family members, I mean the youngsters or younger people, means Bashiram and the writer himself, and some little people below her age. I mean, who could be her children, who could be her children's children. So he said that they have to take a precautionary measure before saying anything that may vibrate, or sometimes that may or something that may give pain, or that may alert Abhi's mind. Okay, the mention of daily happenings like a rolling of a bus into a ditch, such places, the derailing of a cart, the disappearance of an aeroplane, or firing of a bullet at some procession, or was enough to trigger an interminable series of questions. He says we were very much precautionary. We were very much scared of these things. We would take a lot of precautions to discuss any common day happening, like accident somewhere, or like gun roaring, or like an earthquake, Are these things, or these events, or this sentence could not be uttered before Abby's presence. And if they were very cautious, they were very considerate about these things, because they knew it would give rise to innumerable questions in her mind, and this would trigger an interminable series of questions. Interminable series of questions means a lot of questions are a lot of questions that you can't give answers, that sometimes you feel they are irrelevant. Okay, then, is my Ruxana safe? Was Ruxana traveling in that bus? Ruxana is very curious. She must have gone to see that procession. If we could, अगर हम कभी इस तरह की बात करते कि कोई बस लुढ़क गई है, किसी नाले किसी खाई में गिर गई, तो अभी के दिमाग में एकदम एक सोच आ जाती थी, कहीं उसमें रुखसाना तो नहीं थी। मतलब उसको ये लगता कि कोई भी बस उसके मोहल्ले की कहीं या किसी एरिया में या कहीं तुर्की या अमेरिका में कोई बस लुढ़क जाए तो उसकी न्यूज़ आती है फ्रंट पेज पे, या पेपर में आती है, न्यूज़पेपर में आती है। तो अभी वो कंसिडर कि उस बस में शायद रुखसाना होती, दैट वाज ऐसे रुखसान मीन्स, या कभी बॉर्डर पे कोई फायरिंग होती तो शी वुड वरी अबाउट हर ग्रैंड डॉटर, तो वो रुखसाना के बारे में ज़्यादा चिंतित हो जाती। या कहीं पे गन शॉट निकलता तो उसको लगता था शायद ये गन शॉट वही इस गन शॉट की वजह से रुखसाना की कोई हार्म तो नहीं होगी। तो दिस इज अ काइंड ऑफ अ फनी, वेरी ह्यूमरस episode that takes place, or that has taken place, that usually Bashir Ahmed tries to portray or sketch up in order to give a kind of humor, make you laugh. And on the other hand, he is sarcastic about the people before, sarcastic about the old generation. Okay, then we would start laughing. Then he says he's highlighting the stupidness of of his parents or grandparents. Then on the second hand, he's showing how younger generation reacts or laughs at the old generation's wits. Okay, so we would start laughing, and Abby would admonish us. Admonish means tambi karna, ठीक, warn karna, a kind of frowning दिखाना, ठीक. Admonish us yet again for sending Ruxana to Srinagar. तो वो कहती कि रुखसाना को आप कभी श्रीनगर मत बेचना. Why? Because if if you happen, or if you continuously send, or if you don't stop sending Ruxana Srinagar, it means you are going to lose Ruxana. Okay. Then, when she expressed her helplessness, we comforted her, saying that Srinagar is a mountain resort that is called Paradise on Earth, and every year thousands of tourists visit Kashmir to explore it. We tried to make her understand that Ruxana was in Srinagar, not out of some desperations, but to get further education and seek a better life. When we promised that next spring we would take her to Srinagar too, Abby fell silent. If we had brought up the subject of visiting Srinagar before Ruxana left, she would have risen in anger and pursued her mouth, declaring, "I won't leave my children and grandchildren go anywhere." Okay, now in this paragraph, Ruxana is being discussed, and the situation where what is the mindset of the older people. Then he says, when we expressed her helplessness, we comforted. When we would think, or when we would somehow feel or imagine, guess her depression, a kind of depression that or discomfort that she was in, or some discomfort in which she would, feel she was not happy. Saying that Srinagar is that we would say to her that Srinagar is a mountainous area. It's one of the world's, or it's one of the world's best, tourist spot. Or we would console her, or motivate her, persuade her that this is the best place. Thousands of tourists throng to this city, and this is very much visitor city in the entire reign of, you know we say India. And then that's called paradise. And we would say this land of Srinagar is called paradise on earth because it's very much attractive. Okay, and every year thousands of tourists visit Kashmir to explore it. We try to make her understand that Ruxana was in Srinagar not out of some desperation, and we try to motivate her. She is not some tour there. She's not as a visitor there. She is actually pursuing her education. She's furthering her education there. So this is why we are actually keeping her there. We have sent her there only to achieve, only to, pursue her education. Not she's there for some fun, or she's there to give a kind of pen to grandmother. Okay, and then another things that he wants to say, that he's, whenever we promised her next spring we would, take you there in Srinagar, then she would react. She would not go Srinagar. She would be with her children and grandchildren. She never wanted to go anywhere because she was afraid if something happened, something ill omen happened during the way, in the way or somewhere, and she would not forgive her. Okay. Srinagar aside, our Abhi has not even ventured beyond a distance of 10 miles. Then he gives another sarcastic remark. He says, Srinagar तो दूर की बात है, हमारी अभी तो 10 किलोमीटर, हमारी अभी नहीं तो 10 किलोमीटर का सफ़र नहीं किया, मतलब वो कभी 10 किलोमीटर की डेस्टिनेशन पे भी नहीं गई, या 10 किलोमीटर के आगे की 10 किलोमीटर वाले किसी विलेज में तक नहीं गई थी. 2 years ago, 2 साल पहले, after a gap of 8 years, it was a gap of 8 years, and then before 2 years, it means before 10 years. Okay, then what happened? uh, After a gap of 8 years, she had made it to Lake Town for annual dos Dosma. Dosma is a kind of festival celebrated there in Leh. So 2 साल पहले की बात है. She had made it to Leh. वो उसको लेह लिया गया था, मतलब she was convinced to visit Leh and for Dosma festival held every winter to purge the town of the evil. This is held every year to purge, to exude the evil spirit. This is how the festival goes. She was masked. She saw masked dancers and musicians leading a procession from place through the main bazaar. When she saw the processions, when she saw processions moving into the market, in the market, then what happened? She say, they were masked dancers. This procession was of masked dancers, and she came across monks burning effigies. These monks were burning these, effigy sticks in order to give kind of, fragrance. Okay, and making cross of thread to trap harmful, and they were making cross of thread to, to trap the harmful spirits, to exude the harm, and to exude the evil spirits. Okay, then hungry ghosts of the old year. There was much hustle bustle, but that evening when Abby returned home, she could only complain. But we were expecting Abby would be this time very happy because she has seen many things she had never experienced it before. We were expecting a good sense of humor. We were expecting a good heart from her side this evening. But what happened? something ironical, paradoxical happened. What was that? She says there were so many people there that breath was squeezed out of me. Then she gives a kind of her viewpoint of view, her angle, how she viewed the Doshme festival. And it's what she says. My breath was choking. I had Actually, she had never seen people gathering in this quantity. And she is saying her comfort, discomfort. She says it was a kind of procession. It was breaking her breath. Her breath was choking. Okay. Then, I will never go again. We were expecting she would go again, but she categorically denies. She says, "No, I would. I will never go again. I will never go again." During those days, a daughter of a distant relative came to visit us in our village. This was the time, and this was in these days. What happened? A distant relative had come to visit to Bashir's or Abhi's house, Abhi's village. She was a distant relative. She lived in Delhi, and they lived in Delhi. Her family lived in Delhi, and Delhians had a different style of life as compared to Ladakhis. So Abby did not recognize her and kept staring at her. Abby could not recognize her. Abby उसको नहीं पहचानती, क्योंकि उसका हुलिया ही कुछ ऐसा था, तो वो पहचानने के मतलब काबिल नहीं थी. अभी उसको पहचान के काबिल नहीं थी, because this lady this girl has had a different style of living. We stapled our laughter and enjoyed ourselves thoroughly. जब अभी उसको रिकग्नाइज नहीं करती, हमें बहुत ज़्यादा ये क्या कहते हैं इसको हंसी आई, और we enjoyed it. And finally, when Abby was told that this was Dolma, और जब Abby से कहा गया this was Dolma, who was Dolma? This girl was Dolma, and she was astonished. La Dolma, I was wondering from where this memes are descended upon our house. Then she says, "ये क्या La Dolma? Mechrai, you cover kus meme sab. Meme sab is always a name associated with English, fair, white English woman. I mean, brown hair and white face women are considered meme sab in Barisagir, I mean, in subcontinent. Okay, had descended upon our house. ये कहाँ से टपक गई हमारे घर में ये meme sab? Okay. What kind of clothes have you put on? अभी उसको कह रहे चक्कम पलोची लेंगे. What kind of clothes have you put on? तुम चक्कम पलोची लेंगे. Why? Dolma smiled. Dolma को इस पे हंसी आई, क्योंकि she was not bothered about the clothes. Her style of living was different, as the style of living of we Kashmiris is different. Okay. Where have you come from, Dolma? Dolma, आप कहाँ से हो? Where have you come from? I live in Delhi. अम्मा मैं दिल्ली में होती हूँ. I mean, मैं दिल्ली में रहती हूँ. ठीक? Oh, then you must be meeting Ruxana every day. They'll ask Samkhan Ruxana. Her mind is completely occupied with Ruxana, and her mind is filled with the image, with the memories of Ruxana. So she's always thinking every person who comes across her, and she is asking about Ruxana. Even to the plants and trees, she is actually asking Ruxana. She's very much dear. It seems she's very much dear to her. Okay. Amma, Delhi is very far from Srinagar. There's a distance of 1,000 kilometers from Delhi and Srinagar. So it's very near to Srinagar from Leh than from Delhi to Srinagar. Okay. She asks Roxana, and she replies that it's a very far distance from Srinagar to Delhi. Then, have you never met Roxana faces? So Shikna Zahin, have you never met? आप कभी नहीं मिली? Abhi sighed in disappointment. लेकिन ये सुनकर अभी का मूड फिर से किसमें फिर से मायूसी में गिरफ्तार हो जाता है. चलिए आप देखते हैं इंशाल्लाह tomorrow the rest of the lesson, because we can't do it in one video. It takes much time to get upload and compress and rest of the things, and videos में problem आ जाता. शुक्रिया.